1996, a pastor climbed onto the roof of his church in rural Georgia to carry out some repairs. He never came back down. James Hand was shot and killed on that roof, and for nearly 30 years his killer walked free. Today that changes. A Georgia man has finally been charged with the murder of Pastor James Hand, almost 3 decades after the crime was committed. Here is the full story. James Hand was 54 years old and served as the pastor of the Full Gospel Church of Snipesville in Jeff Davis County, Georgia. He was a man of faith, dedicated to his congregation and his community. On June 1, 1996, he climbed onto the roof of his church to carry out repair work. It was an ordinary act of service for an ordinary man doing what needed to be done for the place he loved. He was shot multiple times, and he died on that roof. On June 1, 1996, deputies with the Jeff Davis County Sheriff's Office discovered the body of Pastor James Hand on the roof of the Full Gospel Church of Snipesville. He had suffered multiple gunshot wounds. The initial investigation confirmed that Hand had been repairing the roof when he was shot and killed. No obvious motive that investigators could immediately identify. A man of God, doing repair work on his church, was murdered in broad daylight, and whoever did it vanished. Shortly after the discovery of Hand's body, the Jeff Davis County Sheriff's Office recognized the complexity of the case and requested assistance from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI. The GBI took on the investigation and began the painstaking process of piecing together what had happened on that church roof. But for years, then decades, the case remained unsolved. The GBI never closed it, they never stopped investigating, and nearly 30 years later, that persistence finally paid off. Zachary B. Harper is 47 years old. He is currently serving a life sentence at Jenkins Correctional Facility in Georgia, not for the murder of Pastor Hand, but for an entirely separate killing. According to Georgia Department of Corrections records, Harper was convicted of murder, armed robbery, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. The murder he was convicted of was committed on June 11, 1996, just 10 days after Pastor James Hand was shot dead on his church roof. The same man. The GBI has not disclosed exactly what new information led to the breakthrough in this nearly 30-year-old cold case. The agency said only that additional information obtained during the investigation led to the charges against Harper. Cold case investigations often rely on a combination of new forensic techniques, advances in DNA analysis, fresh witness testimony, or information that emerges years after the original crime, sometimes from unexpected sources. Whatever the breakthrough was in this case, it was enough to convince prosecutors to bring charges against a man already serving a life sentence for another murder. On Wednesday, June 24, 2026, nearly 30 years to the day after Pastor Hand was killed, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation announced that Zachary B. Harper had been charged in connection with his death. Harper faces 1 count of malice murder and 1 count of felony murder. Malice murder in Georgia refers to an intentional killing carried out with deliberate intent, the most serious form of murder charge under Georgia law. Harper is already serving a life sentence. If convicted of these additional charges, he faces the prospect of spending the rest of his natural life behind bars, with no possibility of ever walking free. Despite the charges, the GBI has confirmed that the investigation into Pastor Hand's murder remains active and ongoing. This suggests investigators believe there may be more to uncover, whether that means additional evidence, further charges, or other individuals who may have played a role in the killing. Anyone with information about the case is urged to contact the GBI Regional Investigative Office in Douglas, Georgia at 912-389-4103. Anonymous tips can also be submitted through the GBI's tip line. If you know anything about what happened on that church roof on June 1, 1996, now is the time to come forward. Pastor James Hand climbed onto his church roof on a June day in 1996 to do some repairs. He was 54 years old. He was serving his community. He was doing what pastors do, and someone shot him dead. For 30 years, his family waited, his congregation waited, his community waited. Today, a man has finally been charged. Justice moves slowly sometimes, but it moves. We will continue to follow this case as it progresses through the courts and bring you updates as they emerge. If you found this report informative, please subscribe so you don't miss our next update.